You were made to believe it was going to be your baby.
Yeah, and that's all. I'm not here to take people's babies. That's horrific. I know what it feels like to lose a baby. I would never put that pain into somebody.
We didn't maliciously go out to hurt Kirby and promise it all the world and, strip it away.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another React. So today we're going to be talking about a story which is both heartbreaking and complicated. A woman enters a quasi-surrogacy agreement which ended up with her not having a baby. So it's quite a hard one. So let's talk about it. Before we dive in, please like, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you can stay updated on all of our current and featured videos.
His job is taking photos of babies. She loves it, and her greatest wish in life is to be a mum herself. After years of heartbreak, one of her clients offered to be a surrogate. It was a great moment of sheer joy. All was going to plan until the birth.
I've lost everything. I've only got myself now.
You're hurting.
Yeah, but I don't have any right to. It's not my baby.
This is a story you have to see to believe.
Yes, we were intending on giving her a child. We wanted her to have a baby.
It was supposed to be the ultimate gift from one woman to another.
Well, guess what? What? We're pregnant.
What?
Oh my goodness! We have our surrogate. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
3, go!
Look how happy everybody is there. The intended parents are telling everybody that they've got a surrogate. They do an agenda reveal. You can see how happy the family are. You can just see the excitement and the relief and the joy that's celebrated amongst the family and friends here, that they finally have a surrogate and they're finally going to have the family that they wished and hoped for. You can just tell how this story is going to end, why it's going to be so complicated and so sad. And that's just not going to affect the intended parents. That's going to affect the family and the friends, because this dream has been hoped for and longed for such a long time.
She was at your baby shower.
Yeah.
She was posing for photos at your baby shower.
Yeah. 20-week scan. So I would obviously go to medical appointments, pay for the appointments when I was there.
But Kirby would never get the baby because of a backflip at birth.
You were made to believe it was going to be your baby.
Yeah, and that's all. I'm not here to take people's babies. That's horrific. I know what it feels like to lose a baby. I would never put that pain into somebody.
We didn't maliciously go out to hurt Kirby and promise it all the world and, strip it away.
Kirby's Gold Coast home is filled with reminders of babies.
I am a birth photographer and a doula, and I work in childbirth.
She loves helping mothers capture special moments with their newborns.
Because it brings me joy to bring families something that I should have had.
Kirby's desperate to be a mum herself.
I can't lose another baby. We have been trying for a child since 2012. Suffered multiple reoccurring miscarriages and then deemed infertile.
Then she was given the offer of a lifetime.
So I met a family through my work. I was their newborn photographer to start with, and I witnessed firsthand and photographed her first surrogacy. After that surrogacy, I was going through a loss, and that's when she gave me a card and offered to be my surrogate.
Yeah, I offered to be her surrogate, and, I'm good for it.
We spoke with the woman, but can't identify her for legal reasons.
At the beginning, you were willing to give her a baby for free, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone said to me, how can someone just, do this? How can someone give away a baby? Some people can do it, and I had seen firsthand she could, and she was offering, so why wouldn't I?
What progress did you get up to?
Yeah, a beautiful family in WA gifted us 6 embryos. So we went through donor counselling with that couple.
But in the meantime, Kirby got a surprise call from the intended surrogate.
And she held up a pea stick and said, "You're pregnant." And that's when I found out she had accidentally conceived with her husband. And they just said,
Wow, okay, so if the intended parents have got their embryos, they've got donor embryos, this wonderful lady has offered to be their surrogate for free. They met through the intended parent, the intended mother, doing a photo shoot for her because she's a newborn photographer. They've told family and friends that they've got a surrogate, and then the surrogate has called them and held up a pregnancy test and told them that they're pregnant. The longing for these intended parents, for the want to be wanting to become parents since 2012, that she's now infertile and she can't conceive naturally, for then the surrogate to hold up a pregnancy test and tell her that she's pregnant with her own child, not the intended parents, is just heartbreaking. For the surrogate not to be abstaining when you're doing a journey for these intended parents, I think is just really unfair given the commitment that you're committing to. It's heartbreaking, those poor intended parents. I'm just lost for words. This story is it's just so sad.
it's real simple, we're just skipping a step.
I had 3 kids at the time. You don't plan on having, being pregnant. There were a lot of factors that were behind it.
So Kirby and her then husband announced their good news.
Oh my God! Yeah. It's happening! Yeah, it's happening.
Oh my goodness. And it's not in me. Oh my God. Yeah. What do you mean?
The couple falling in love with the baby girl at scans and ultrasounds.
What did you see? And I had hands.
Yeah, she wanted me to have a baby shower. She said, "I'm not giving you this experience for you to not have all the experiences."
An incredibly unique experience, as Kirby discovered.
I couldn't find anyone in Australia that had done this. Then I called the Queensland adoption hotline, and I was advised that adoption in Queensland is illegal, private adoption.
So they engaged lawyers.
But we could do a parentage agreement and a consent order. So the child will always be legally ours. However, she would have guardianship over the child and be able to access things like Medicare.
I mean, you were fully convinced that you were having this baby.
Yeah.
During the pregnancy, Kirby's marriage broke down and she moved into an apartment by herself. But she was assured.
So the intended parents had showed their families pictures of this scan thinking that it was the intended parents' baby when actually it was the surrogate's baby, but the surrogate had told the intended parents that they can have this baby. Is that legally allowed? Will they get guardianship? You know, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how the law stands in Australia. I guess it's quite complicated to go down that route. Emotionally, this is pulling, the intended parents apart. Their marriage is suffering with this. Is the surrogate going to then agree to this when the baby is born? We don't know. We haven't got that far yet. But there's a lot of emotions at play. You just saying, well, actually, you can have this baby. I don't want this as the surrogate because I've told you I'm going to do this journey for you. That's a lot of words at play, just throwing those words around to say, well, actually, you can have this baby. Because the intended parents are desperate. They're desperate for their own baby. It's just really sad, and you could see the intended parents are just heartbroken. The families are, seeing this baby on the picture. They're getting used to having this baby here. They're buying clothes. They're doing the nursery.
the baby girl was still hers until she tried to see her at the hospital.
Well, I was asked not to be there at the birth.
Unbeknownst to me, Kirby rocked up the next morning knowing that she wasn't meant to be at the hospital. Security called, escorted out of the hospital.
Did your mind change like when you gave birth?
No, it didn't. The social worker turned around and said, I don't feel safe allowing you to hand over a child to her.
And were you ever given an explanation?
Other than child services intervened.
That's it.
They hadn't yet signed any paperwork, but that didn't matter anyway.
Even if they signed the agreement, both parties need to get independent counselling, they need to get independent legal advice, they need to prepare the agreement which outlines all of the arrangements, and once all of that happens they need to go to court, but even then there's no guarantee that a court would make an order to allow the intended parents to ultimately be the parents of the child.
Lawyer Richard Mitri.
In Australia, surrogacy itself is legal, but it is highly regulated. It is very difficult to ultimately implement. If the birth mother changes her mind, the birth mother will be entitled to retain the child as her child.
So they're speaking there about the surrogacy agreement with the birth mother being able to change their mind. Surrogacy is legal, but it's very tightly regulated. And when the baby was born, child services got involved and stopped the intended parent from being in the room, so she wasn't allowed to be there for the birth. They have to then go through all of the agreements with all of the signing of the paperwork to get the guardianship over to the intended parent from the surrogate. So it's not as easy as just saying, yes, you can have this baby. There's a lot of paperwork. You have to go to court, and then it's the judge's decision then for all about the welfare of the child, where he then grants the custody of the child. So there's a lot of restrictions in place and a lot of regulations in place in terms of the agreement.
In the sense that with her divorce, she wasn't maybe in the best financial position.
I've never spoken to anyone. No one's come and looked at my home. Nobody's called me. The social worker is still yet to call me back from said hospital that I was removed from. I did want to be a mum. I think this has really wrecked me.
And that is just a desperate, messy situation, and one we understand is difficult for everyone involved. We just hope that you're okay, Kirby.
And just to finish that off, she's just said she wants to be a mum, but no, she's just broken. And you can understand why. The journey that she's been on, the hopes and dreams that's just now shattered. And like I say, not just for her, but her extended family and her friends. They've seen scan pictures, they've been at scans, they've had a gender reveal, they've brought clothes, they were expecting a little girl. And then for that to be denied right at the end is just really sad and heartbreaking. And there's not that legal protection out there because nothing was documented, and the surrogate can just change her mind because it's all about, the surrogate gets autonomy over her own body, and, that's biologically the surrogate's baby, not the intended parent. So it's all about ensuring that you have the correct legal advice, you have the correct documentation in place, you have emotional support, and you've got all of that scaffolding around you when you're embarking on a surrogacy journey, especially when somebody offers to be your surrogate. That lady offered to be her surrogate for free that they met altruistically through a photo shoot. So it's important when somebody reaches out to you to offer to be your surrogate, that's a wonderful gift that somebody is offering. Ensure that you get that support, whether you do it independently or through an agency. It's important that you get that advice and that scaffolding around you when you're embarking on this journey, because it's really important that you both have the support and you both understand the journey that you're about to go on. So please reach out to us if anybody is offered to be your surrogate, or this video really resonates with you, because we can support you, we can advise you, and we can help you make those informed decisions about your next part of your journey. She's also said that she is going through a divorce from the effects of this journey. So that's got another emotional layer of the whole journey that she's been on. There's no documentation in place here, so there's no consents that need updating, there's no surrogacy agreement that needs changing, or no contract. But had there have been all of those things in place, those all need updating and amending, and you need to update your lawyer in your home country. You need to update your lawyer in the country that you're doing your surrogacy journey through. But that's gonna add a new layer of emotional support that she needs to be supported on, as well as the surrogate as well. It's just really sad, and it's just really heartbreaking that she's now single and she hasn't got a baby at the end of it. But she's got her family, she's got her friends to support her. Yeah, the journey is just really sad and it's heartbreaking. And it's just, you know, these things do happen. They don't happen a lot. I don't hear of them a lot, but they do happen. This is not what surrogacy normally looks like. This is messy. You know, this is your worst case scenario. And it's exactly why, if you ever consider surrogacy, you have to do it properly. And I get that. I know it's easier said than done, but cutting corners creates situations where families break apart, legal loopholes take over, and the child ends up in the middle of it all. Surrogacy is absolutely incredible, but it only works when it's protected legally, emotionally for everybody involved. You know, with this story, this poor baby was caught in the middle of all of this, and the intended parents ended up without that baby, and the surrogate and her husband decided to keep the baby, and nothing was documented, nothing was protected, and the intended parents then got hurt. So, you know, let us know your thoughts. Please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell as always, and keep your comments quite kind. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.